Stand by to receive our transmission.
Where are you boys from in the world?
Alabama, sir.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Welcome to the Bama Geeks podcast. We are four friends diving into our favorite pop culture topics with a dash of Southern charm.
We have the tools, we have talent. It's Miller time.
Whoa, this is heavy.
Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds.
Wait, what? Crazy? You didn't say I was crazy.
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
You want something done, you've got to do it yourself.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
So grab your biscuits and gravy, a glass of sweet tea, and enjoy the nerdy hospitality of Brock and Jessica Parker, Bo Bearden, and Kevin Gardner.
This is the way.
This is the way.
And welcome into the Bama Geeks podcast. We are back, and hopefully you are too. I'm Brock Parker, and with me, as always, mi compadres, mi familia. Who are you?
Hi, this is Jessica.
Hello, this is Bo.
Hello, this is Kevin.
All sultry. I love it.
We're so silky smooth tonight.
Anyway, we're going to talk about a few things. As you know from us, if you listen to the first episode especially, we are geeks for a lot of things, not just pop culture, even though this is primarily a pop culture podcast. We will get to those things. We're going to discuss some spoiler-ish things, but we're going to save that for the end. We're going to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're going to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong. We're going to look at the Suicide Squad trailer, Space Jam 2 trailer, a whole lot of things coming up. But the spoilery stuff we'll save for the end with Falcon and Winter Soldier, as well as Godzilla vs. Kong. We have all seen Godzilla vs. Kong. Bo refuses to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. We'll get on to him and get into that.
It's on his to-do list.
It's not a refusal, more of a lack of time.
Sure.
You know, adulting and
Parenting.
Yes.
parenting.
Yes.
We get it. We're all, we kids love them. But we're going to kick off this episode. Kevin especially is a massive fan of one Elon Musk. And, pretty much we all are. But Kevin is going to give you some insight into some serious goodness in what he's calling the Elonverse. So we're going to
dun dun.
So we'll talk about some really neat things that Elon and his companies are doing. And then we'll get into the trailers, and we've got some con stuff, maybe some video game stuff, and then some spoilerish fun for some recent releases. So, Kevin, I'm going to let you start us off, man. The Elonverse.
I kind of feel like we should talk about SpaceX, the privatization of space. What's the hot topic now? We've got the Cybertruck coming up. We've got Starlink. Starlink is set to revolutionize how we could potentially, talk to each other across the globe. I mean, it's already being rolled out. Like, start us off talking about SpaceX, guys. I mean, I think we've got bullet points here to talk about SpaceX and the privatization of space, but it's kind of like those are one and the same, really. I mean, SpaceX is what is privatizing space. And if you guys think about it, there's really nothing more American than privatizing stuff. We're all about privatizing space, okay? So one of the things about NASA overall is that when NASA does something wrong, because it's a public company, they're under intense scrutiny because, hey, you know what? It's your money. It's my money. Something just blew up in the sky. I don't know how much money that is. They're under intense scrutiny, whereas you have SpaceX, all they got to do is get clearance to launch and then just amaze us with the fact that they can do things with rockets that we only ever saw growing up in sci-fi movies, like landing a rocket, standing straight up. You would have thought it was an everyday thing in movies. Every spaceship did that. But then to actually see a rocket in real life actually land on a platform in the middle of the ocean, and now they do it routinely, like it's just like making a sandwich. It's just like the simplest thing in the world for them to do. I'm sure I'm oversimplifying it, obviously.
A very expensive sandwich, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
That's the double-decker club sandwich.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, SpaceX has been fascinating to watch. We're all children of the 80s. And so seeing NASA and seeing the space shuttle program was always something that always fascinated me. When the Challenger exploded, I had one of our teachers in our school system she wasn't one of the finalists, but she was very close to being accepted onto Challenger. And golly, man, I remember sitting there watching that. I'm sure we all did. Just fascinated. Mm-hmm. Wow, teachers going into space, and the unthinkable happens. As a matter of fact, when I was a television reporter over in Columbus, Georgia, Roger Beaujolais, who worked for Morton Thiokol, he was one of the engineers that spotted early on the O-ring issue. He was one of the whistleblowers. And I got to interview him for more than an hour, and he was so fascinating to talk to, and his experiences in dealing with NASA and the Challenger program, and he recounted a lot of his personal experiences sitting there watching things that he worked on, just along with human lives just being obliterated, and that I need to go back and find that interview. I would, if I can find it and get it onto YouTube or somewhere, I will happily do that. It's a hour-long interview with him. And
wow.
Yeah.
What year was this?
This was 2007, I believe, was when I interviewed him. He came to Auburn University and was talking to their College of Engineering.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm sorry. He was talking to the College of Business about one of their business programs, and I got about an hour with him privately to do this interview. And of course, like I said, growing up, I've got all the Challenger patches from all their missions, and I've got the 8x10s, the young astronaut kits that NASA put out. But anyway, so seeing NASA go from handling all this stuff themselves and then being able to pass it off to private companies like SpaceX is fascinating. And yeah, like you said, Kev, watching the rockets being able to land, you never thought that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you think it's possible because, I mean, like you said, the child of the 80s, and even like from the 50s and 60s, the romance of sci-fi of seeing, like you said, the rockets and stuff. And now folks like that have got older. They have, certain folks have the billions of dollars to spare to do that.
Right.
I would love to do that. I mean, heck, if I had his money too, heck yeah, I'd shoot a car in space. Right. I mean, come on.
Right.
Sure, why not?
I mean, honestly, none of us were around when we landed on the moon.
Yeah.
So, none of us were able to watch that. And you just watch, the only exposure we have is either speaking with our parents or watching like Apollo 13, the movie, where you get to see just how people were just sitting down watching their little bitty TVs, and they were transfixed with just this visual of just something that's absolutely amazing. You just can't believe it. The closest that I've ever gotten to feeling that was watching those rockets land and realizing that we just took a major step forward in space travel. Mm-hmm. The fact that we're able to use computers to do this now. And not only are we using computers to do it, they basically get to a certain point in the countdown where the computer completely takes over. And it's using very similar autonomous technology that they use in their cars. So it's like, it's almost the most fascinating thing about this for me is that it's all kind of interconnected. They'll progress technology in one of their sectors, and then they'll use that technology to progress over here.
And I was just fascinated, too, by being able to watch those launches, and you saw this spaceship with this elaborate control panel and the knobs and the buttons and them sitting in the cabin, and then to where we are now with the recent launch of the SpaceX. And me and Brock's watching it, and you're just sitting there. It's just like, it's just a touch screen. It's just so clean and so basic. And here we are, we're touching these screens now, and we're going into space.
It looks like the inside of Kevin's car.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the one thing I said they missed out from our movies back then was, it's like watching things like Aliens and stuff like, we nowadays, it's commonplace for LCD monitors and high definition TVs, where back then, in the future, everyone still had CRT monitors in the cabin,
Well, science fiction has always needed to reflect what we understand. So like during the time while we were growing up, that was the technology. We had to be able to relate to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like now technology is so far advanced. I mean, like, Brock had mentioned, I have a little bit of a bias because I actually do own a Tesla, and it's so different from any other vehicle that you've probably ever driven or ever owned, in that it's just so minimalist that everything is done on a screen. It's tough to describe just how mind-blowing it is and how freeing it is. You really can't get that feeling from a test drive. If you ever get a chance to just borrow a Tesla for a week and then just use that as your daily driver, you would probably want one after that, most likely.
I'm still hoping he pulls the trigger on that N64 graphics truck. That's what I'm really hoping happens.
Wait, what?
Oh, the Cybertruck?
the very squarish. It looks like something from the N64.
The Polygon.
Oh yeah,
graphics truck. Yeah, the Polygon truck.
The Polygon truck.
Yeah, the Cybertruck. That is actually hopefully going into production later on this year, and those are being built in Texas.
Everything in Texas.
Giga Texas.
Well, I can speak to the experience of riding in Kevin's car. It was pretty mind blowing. I will attest to that too.
That is a beautiful, beautiful car, and I didn't, me not being familiar with that at all. Kevin pulled out of our yard. We're sitting there, and he's like, "Ready? Like for what?" And he floors it, and that thing shoots off like one of those rockets.
I haven't rode in a Tesla, but I have rode in a battery powered, like one of those indoor go-kart facilities, and they're all battery powered. And it is incredible how the battery power engine just like it zips, and there's no delay, there's no rev up. It's get and go.
No, Jess was leaning forward trying to see what all was on the dash. Kevin floored it, and she's like in the very back window by that time.
I mean, it threw me back. Was not. Yeah, Kevin, thanks for that.
She's like Garfield in the back window there,
But to be fair, I did ask if you guys were ready.
You did.
You did, but we really weren't.
But you didn't elaborate. You just said, "Are you ready?" Sure, we're ready to go.
Yeah, you gonna open up a sunroof? What are you doing? No.
It's kind of like that line in Ferris Bueller. If you have the opportunity to get one, I highly recommend it. It's so choice.
Yeah.
So enough gushing on the car.
No, there is never enough gushing on the car. It's beautiful.
It's an incredible vehicle, man.
Fair enough.
It turned me. I've been fascinated with Elon and everything, especially since with the boring company with the flamethrowers. That's really what got my attention with them. I'm like, what? And then the SpaceX. But when
you own their products, or you own one of their products, and you realize that most of the time when you get an update and it's something cool, it's because Elon wanted it. Yep. It's not because it was asked for. Most of the time, well, sometimes it's because it was asked for by someone on Twitter that asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, that's a cool idea." But most of the time, it's like, I mean, they did an update not too long ago for some of the later Model Y and Model 3s, where it's got a pedestrian horn on the outside because electric vehicles are required to have them, and they're required to make a sound. So Elon, in typical Elon fashion, said, "Well, you know what? The Highway Safety Board, they said we have to make a sound. They didn't say what sound it had to be. So I'm going to make it where you can make your car fart going down the road if you want to, or you can make the sound, the kit sound from the Knight Rider going down the road if you want to. I don't care. I mean, the guy's like, it's like it's his toy box.
You wanted a sound, you didn't specify the sound.
Exactly. So he's like, it's like he's goading them or something. So I fully expect in the future it'll be like, any cars that are made after 2024 must have this incredibly boring sound running at all times when they're above 18 miles an hour or something like that.
You should just record yourself go,
Feel like a kid again.
Yeah. If that's not the brake sound, I would be disappointed.
So far as other things that we could speak about with SpaceX, the big one now that has garnered a lot of attention has been Starlink. This is going to revolutionize things. As someone who at one point had satellite internet, I was on a satellite connection called Wild Blue, and I don't even know if they exist anymore. I think they may have merged with HughesNet or something.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
it was good. At the time when I had it, it was owned by the engineer who created it. He was the CEO, and they used what they call bent pipe technology, and it was just slang for. We have a really low latency for having one geostationary satellite, and I mean it was pretty good. I mean latency was at like 500 milliseconds for a satellite, which was insane, like really good, half a second. But we're talking 30 milliseconds, sometimes 15 milliseconds from Starlink, because they have so many. They have over 1,000 Starlink satellites in space now, and they've been cleared for, I think, up to 25,000 satellites in space.
Jeez.
And they launch them 60 at a time using Falcon 9s. And it's to the point where they have already put in approval, patent approval and FCC approval for Starlink nodes that you could use while you're in a car. So that will make it where you can use it on a plane. You could use it on your RV, on your semi-truck, in your car, anywhere you want to go. Because the ones that you get right now are tied to a specific service area. So you can get so far away from your service address and still be able to use it. But as soon as you get out of your cell, then you can't use it anymore. But everyone who has tried it so far, from what I've seen, has been absolutely mind blown at just how fast it is. And they're already talking about it. It's going to expand to pretty much any habitable place on the planet. So you could have people that are in the middle of the Sahara Desert plop this thing down with their generator, with their solar panels, and they could have the internet right there.
Yeah, I watched quite a few videos, I guess a month or two ago, before we even really had started talking about this amongst ourselves, of these guys up in remote Idaho that he went and plopped one of these down on his roof, ran the cable and the modem.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that video. Yeah.
And it aligned itself. It found what it needed to find all by itself. And he was in the middle of the sticks of the mountains. And he was pulling 100 meg down easily, handily.
Jeez, that's incredible.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I know people, like my best friend from high school. She lives down in Florida in a very remote area. Her internet is terrible. Her cell phone service is terrible. And I told her, I said, keep an eye on this Starlink. When you can get it, you need it because it'll blow your mind at your house.
Now, is Starlink supposed to be like it's going to be its own company type thing, or are they going to provide
its own company?
Okay, so essentially things might get nasty in the telecommunication cell phone battle when they finally start pushing for, I guess, a big rollout.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, previously the federal government has provided a lot of money, billions of dollars, to some of the existing terrestrial telecommunications companies to do rollouts, and they've just sat on it. They've squandered it. They have not done anything with it. And even now, they're arguing to the FCC that, 10 megabit up is fine. 10 megabit up is perfectly fine.
User,
it's and it's not in the remote world that we live in, where you have people that are having to work remote. 10 megabits up is not fine. And knowing that you can have a satellite service that could provide you more than that, that's pretty mind-blowing. And they've already stated that may not be it. They may be able to get it even faster than that.
So this is an interesting thing, because if this happens, this will move to other areas. Because like with me, when we just recently, we moved a couple of years ago, and one of the big things was like, I got to have internet at our place. So therefore, that will now help, folks be like, hey, I kind of want to be a little out on my own. Mm-hmm. Well, heck, you can be a little bit on your own, but you can also still be connected. You can still play, your games, or we could be like doing the chats like this with no issue. So that's, once again, that'll benefit something else, hopefully.
I remember when you started hitting that good internet when you moved. You were
yes,
yeah, but Bo suffered for a long time,
very long time. We had DSL when I first moved there about 14, 15 years ago. It was a 3 megabyte download with a 0.5 meg upload, and that was DSL. And then eventually, by the time we leave, I was at a blistering 8.5 meg download with
dang man
4 uploads. So
man,
as we near retirement, Jess and I are thinking about moving out away from city life and building our own place, our forever home. By that time, Starlink should be hopefully pretty good to go, because I will hook up with that without any issue. Now, the only thing I'm worried about is if they're going to deploy 25,000 satellites, is that going to become the ArcNet for Men in Black? Are we going to be protected from other species?
Oh,
it's possible. I mean,
I was just saying, not even ArcNet. I was going more toward the Skynet, especially with the automatic deployment of everything controlling thing. That's where I go into the Skynet Terminator territory.
That's fine. Some civilizations need to be wiped out. It's fine.
Well,
you're not wrong.
People like to laugh at me. I kind of jokingly say, I swear that Elon is like a time traveler from the future, where he's come back and he's like, look, in my time, we screwed this up. We raised the earth, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to do things right. And who knows? It could be that, that maybe what it is like, all right, we've got all these low orbit satellites, then, that they could have some other use. I don't know. All I care about is, like Brock said, we're able to potentially have internet that you could have out in the sticks that can compete with terrestrial internet. That is insane. I mean, think about that. We're sitting here like gushing over the fact that a rocket can land on a landing pad in the middle of the ocean. But you look at this, and it's the fact that we're able to get satellite internet at a competitive speed. That, it sounds like I'm like totally like advertising for Starlink here, but it's mind blowing, the fact that we've had satellite like HughesNet and Wild Blue and all those other services for all these years, and those are just so you guys are aware, those were just one geosynchronous satellite. Everyone was on it, so it's basically like being at your house and everybody's on your router.
I think it'll be fine as long as it's not a Walmart exclusive. I think we'll be all right.
And here we go.
And there's the first dig of the podcast.
I got it.
Guys, we agreed we were going to leave Walmart alone on this one.
Never.
Interjection, Bo. I went to three Montgomery Walmarts, a Prattville Walmart. No turtles.
I'm so great. Yeah, I appreciate it. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail the conversation there.
No,
but
I was rambling, so it's all good. Guys, if you let me, I will gush about Elon stuff all night long, and I know we've got other topics to cover. So.
Well, Elon's definitely got some great ideas, and I've become a fan. Certainly, and especially after being in your car, Kevin, that really did it. But then, I'm really looking forward to every time there's one of the new ship launches, like the latest SN11. As much as I enjoy those explosions, even though we didn't really get to see SN11, we just saw the aftermath of it because it was so foggy. But I every time one of those launches come up, I will sit here and have it pulled up on one of my monitors when I'm trying to work. And,
it's so fascinating.
SN10 was so close to landing. It landed, but it was so close to like staying intact. But I was sitting here working, and still had the feed pulled up on my second monitor, and I'm sitting here working, and just out of the corner of my eye, just this massive explosion after just a few minutes of it landing, and I'm just like, yeah, no, come on, it's got to work. But if there's anybody who can plunk down the money to keep having these test flights to make sure we eventually get to the point where the Falcon 9s are with landing,
right?
Elon, go for it, man.
Have at it, buddy.
Love seeing it.
Could you imagine if NASA did that though? It would be like public outcry. We would want like heads on stakes,
exactly,
because of that, and just the fact that to kind of circle back to the fact that we're privatizing our efforts in space, it gives us a lot more room to maneuver, and people tend to look at privatized things differently than they do, government sponsored socialized.
That's because they're wasting their money instead of ours, or vice versa type thing. Which
And I don't know about anybody else, but it's just kind of I see that the reignition of the the love for the space exploration and things like that we had growing up, that was fascinating to us as kids in the 80s, and then to have that come about again in this way, seeing how these developments are taking place in this new way of space exploration is mind-boggling.
Maybe, hopefully, like I said, the older generation had the moon landing. Maybe sometime in our lifetime we might see the Mars landing. Hopefully,
we will.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, you guys know.
I know we've done, the robots and stuff,
Right.
but I actually want to see a person walk on Mars.
All right, Elon is 49 years old. He wants to hold out, and he wants to get it to the point where he can be emperor of Mars.
He's 49. I turned 40 here in just a couple of weeks. Man, I've wasted my potential. Oh my gosh!
You think you have? I'm only 4 years behind Elon.
Guidance counselor was severely misguided.
But I mean, bringing up his age, I mean, like Jessica just said about the being absolutely stunned and loving this stuff when we were growing up. So was he.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I'm sure he was the same way.
Exactly. Had to be.
Not sure if he was watching reruns of Star Trek on WTTO like we were, but you never know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. There's certainly a lot to look forward to with Elon and SpaceX and Starlink and Tesla. And it's a fun time that we're living in. It's a fun time to see all this happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, some other things are happening in our lives. Like movies are starting to get back into the theaters a little bit. As we mentioned earlier, we'll talk about Godzilla versus Kong towards the end of the podcast. So there's your spoiler warning early on again. But a couple of new trailers have dropped. The Suicide Squad. What do you guys think about that one?
I enjoyed it. It's essentially James Gunn is getting to make his R-rated Guardians. That's what it is. But overall, I think it's going to be like one of those stupid fun movies. Just like, they're going to... The cool thing about it, though, is they are... I don't know. This is one thing people will gripe about the DCEU, but when again, I like it, though. They kind of don't play by the rules. Like every movie has to be interconnected and on stretch, which I mean, that's great with Marvel. But then at the same time, DC's like, screw it. Let's make this movie. We ain't going to worry about implications on this movie. Let's just make this movie. I mean, trailers, spoiler, but I mean, nothing big. But I mean, freaking Starro.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ridiculous old Justice League villain look like it's going to be part of this movie. I don't know if it'll be the villain, but it's a villain of the movie.
Yep.
And on top of that, I mean, I don't know. Like overall, it looks cool. I like to see. Biggest thing for me, of course, me being a wrestling fan, seeing John Cena be overly serious. Basically, he is Captain America. He is Captain America, but with not a great moral compass. He's doing the right thing, just doing it the wrong way.
And the beach joke, I won't try to here talking about what the things on the beach and stuff. And I'm going to keep it PG, but
he's really good about that. Like jokes, that would make other people uncomfortable delivering it and trying to make it like a thing back on himself. He'll just turn around and just make it funny. I mean, he's, it's like if you looked at some of his other characters in other movies, he'll make a joke that should be like a degrading thing, but he turns it into something hilarious.
Yeah. The big thing for me is that, with DC is you either love it or you hate their approach. It's like with the Snyderverse, Zack Snyder, love him or hate him. We talked about the Snyder Cut in the last episode, but it's very serious. It's serious. This is DC. Everything's serious, and we're doing everything we can to be as different from Marvel as we can. We're going to make it as serious as possible. And then you got James Gunn comes in here. And we've got a fun movie, like what we would expect. It kind of makes me think that maybe Warner Brothers is their MO here is, well, we've kind of played in this sandbox. We kind of want to see how this goes, and we may be about to switch it up to where everything's going to be playful now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When they bring it up, like I said, with us being Bama Geeks, one thing with it being James Gunn movie, he likes to bring his good friend and resident of our, I guess, I don't know if he still lives here or he's from our state, Mr. Michael Rooker, into his movie.
Yes.
From Jasper.
Yes.
Good old Jasper, Walker County boy.
Much as we joke about Walker County, they give us one of our favorite actors. That is kind of incredible.
Well, right. Guys, I didn't know that, and that explains a lot about him now.
Well,
you didn't know that?
I did not know that. No.
What year did we meet him at Dragon Con, Bo?
It was around the first time, right around the first release of the first Guardians. Yeah, it was right around that same year. Because he had the mohawk. He was getting. Yes, he was still at it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just getting ready for Yondu, and I remember we walked up to him and said, Alabama boy, roll tide. And he goes, roll tide, the old Michael Rooker self. And so, we got to talk to him a little bit about the home state there.
think that was also the year where he hung out with some of the other Ghostbusters, and I believe he enjoyed some of their beverages, and I think he was at one point in a flight suit running around the convention and goes up to Ernie Hudson and says, "Boss, I'm here for work."
Yeah, there's video of that somewhere. Yeah. Where he runs up to Ernie at the fan tables. Oh, it's hilarious. But yeah, Michael Rooker. Yeah, he's a good old Bama boy. We're going to hit on a couple of famous Alabamians or people with some good Alabama ties in the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
What'd y'all think about King Shark?
Tough. Ripped a guy in half. Likes hands.
Hands.
But yeah, King Shark, he looks good, man. Really excited to see what he's going to bring. And, for me, the trailer, I'm just looking forward to see what it's going to bring. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because my all-time second favorite DC villain is in this, of course. Harley Quinn. My number one DC villain has always been the Joker my entire life. So, they brought Harley in for him back 30 years ago now. My goodness. I love her. I love Margot Robbie. And I'm always interested to see what she's going to bring to it.
I'm all for Margot being crazy again. I'm all for it.
I want to say in the trailer, like when they're doing the thing and they're interviewing the Thinker, Capaldi's character, when she does the whole, they're like, you do this, we're going to kill you. We're going to do this, we kill you. Then she breaks it. If you got personalized car tags, we're going to kill you. That's probably the most animated version of Harley thing she's done in the character. And I love it. That was awesome. That was very old school Harley.
And being a pretty big Doctor Who fan myself, having Peter Capaldi there, one of the better doctors in my opinion.
I'm telling you, Capaldi is kind of like a modern Who. He is kind of tied with Tennant for me as my favorite of the modern doctors. Like, I really liked him. Maybe just being the old crotchety old man again might have helped it there,
The trailer for me, it looks fun. I'm just going to be really interested to see how the final movie plays out.
It's definitely going to be a movie not for the kids.
Oh, not at all. The main thing going back with King Shark was I was impressed. I saw in the original credits, I saw where Sylvester Stallone was in the movie, and then I found out he is the voice of King Shark. So now James Gunn has successfully put Sylvester Stallone in the MCU and now the DCEU. Now he needs to find a way to bring Schwarzenegger into both of them because, come on.
Chill.
Yes. Well, that is true. That is true. I think about he is in the DC that way, but
Yeah, he'll be part of Flashpoint.
Yeah.
James Gunn he's incredibly talented. So, the biggest thing I worry about with that many characters is that we won't get a certain number of really good characters that have a lot of attention paid to them. And then the rest of them are just kind of like ancillary,
Right.
But he does a really good job of bringing all of them in. So,
of course, though, a lot of people, the big popular theory is a bunch of them may be killed halfway into the first 30 minutes of the movie. You never know.
That would be interesting.
Add some flavor to it.
There we go.
Shake things up a bit.
I don't know if you noticed Nathan Fillion's in the movie also. I can't think of the name of his character, but his character's power basically is he can take his arms off and beat things with it. His arms are removable.
as long as he channels Captain Hammer.
A lot of people think that's just what he may do.
Man, if he could just pull off, because that was one of the best performances. I loved it so much. From Dr. Horrible, in the event that anyone is not randomly picking up on that one.
You bring up too many characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads me to think about Space Jam 2.
Good segue.
Dang,
good segue.
We watched that trailer.
Space Jam, A New Legacy, not Space Jam 2. We got to, for branding purposes now, look.
I am going to be upfront, honest, transparent. I'm going to put myself in harm's way. I have never watched Space Jam.
Well, that's understandable.
I thought you'd be more shocked than that. Come on.
I am kind of shocked a little bit.
As long as I've known you now, I'm not surprised.
Oh, what does that say about me?
That doesn't mean a bad thing. I understand your taste.
Well, it came out in 96. I was in the middle of being in the military back then. I was a little busy. I was overseas. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get around to seeing Space Jam and still just haven't caught up on it. Of course, I love Michael Jordan, being a child of the 80s and 90s, and naturally love Bill Murray and being just being a human. I love the Looney Tunes. Mm-hmm. So I'm ashamed that I've never seen Space Jam. I want to, need to. It's on our HBO Max to watch list.
I wonder if one of your favorite movies being the first cartoon live action hybrid might have been affecting that, with you loving Roger Rabbit much as it did. Maybe that kind of, your preference was like, I like this movie so much. Maybe this might, not, be as up to what you want it to be.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a high bar.
Very high bar.
Anybody who knows me knows, and we'll get into this on another episode. Yeah. Roger Rabbit is up in my top 5 of all time. And, hey, I married a girl named Jessica. Come on.
and you know, I'm going to openly say I love Space Jam, but it is nowhere near that bar. It's good. I like it. It's good, but it's nowhere near Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, just for the the blend of live action cartoon.
I'll give it a shot soon. Like I said, it's on our watch list on HBO Max. I need to watch it.
Yeah, and I need to revisit too, because here's my confession. I watched it once when it came out in 96, and I was 19-year-old female. I watched it for the fun aspect of it, and to say that I watched it, but I only watched it once, and I haven't revisited it since.
Did you ever go watch Michael Jordan play baseball?
No, I never got a chance to watch him play baseball when he was here in Birmingham.
Yeah, that was like, yep.
Guys, I'm the female of the bunch, so sports just kind of wasn't, unless it was Auburn football, and because that's what I was raised up on.
As she sits here wearing a Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt.
Babe. Wrestling, pro wrestling, WWF. It's sports entertainment, okay?
Yes.
Pro wrestling is just...
No, we are in Alabama. It's pro wrestling.
Wrestling.
And it's real.
Hey, pro wrestling.
Still real to me, darn it.
Pro wrestling.
It's a soap opera where they hit each other.
There you go. That's where I was going with this. It is it is a soap opera in the squared circle.
I call wrestling athletic theater.
There you go.
I love it. That is that's perfect. Athletic theater.
Mr.
I love
sophistication over here.
Dang.
I'm going to the theater where they're going to smash each other about with the chairs. He went through the table, ballyhoo.
Bo's been waiting on the chance to drop that one. I call it athletic theater.
I mean, I respect, hey, you got to work out hard to look good, but then again, some of them guys have got to, they've got to put on a performance, that's believable and.
But it's not fake.
Nope, they get hurt.
It's not fake.
But.
John Stossel learned that.
Anyway,
John Stossel learned that. But anyway,
we just gone straight from.
but you can't cut all of that out, Brock.
This is
staying in. All that out.
This is staying in. This is gold.
We have to keep athletic theater because that's just going to be a thing now.
Yeah, we'll get into like we told you on the first episode. Those two right there, Bo and Jess, will get you into wrestling in a heartbeat and not think twice about it.
We will save athletic theater for future episodes.
But as wrestling has so many characters, so does that Space Jam 2 trailer.
Look at my baby. He's just going to segue.
I've only been doing radio since 92. It's okay. A lot of things to try and eyeball in that trailer for Space Jam 2. That movie's going to keep me extremely busy, not paying attention to the plot at all, but seeing how essentially it's the basketball version. Oh, I'll just say, I didn't know they were making Ready Player 2 into a basketball movie.
Into a basketball movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I don't think you'll be searching most of it. I'm pretty sure what's in the trailer is probably the third act, probably. So, but I'm still thinking
Yeah. But, you see The Mask. You see the guys from A Clockwork Orange.
Mm-hmm. The White Walkers.
You see the White Walkers from Game of Thrones. You see Jack Nicholson's Joker from '89.
I missed that one.
Unless somebody photoshopped him in.
You know what this is?
What's that?
It is just a flex on Disney.
Yep.
It is absolutely a flex on Disney. This is Warner Brothers saying, "Hey, by the way, we own just as many, if not more, properties than you do."
Yeah, Disney did a couple years ago with Ralph Breaks the Internet. So
this is a phallus measuring contest.
putting it nicely.
Yeah. I mean, it's really impressive. Like, it's going to seem like it's got a neat little story. Of course, where like Jordan was trying to play to save the Looney Tunes from going to Moron Mountain. This seems to be somehow LeBron's son is sucked into a digital world, and he goes to save him because like that's. I was wondering how they were going to do if they were going to use the Monstars again, but it seems they are using NBA players. Well, I think it's 4 NBA players and then one of the WNBA players as the team they're playing against, like their digital computery looking versions.
And apparently Don Cheadle is the architect or something.
Yeah, I think he's kind of the whatever. Yeah, you want to say, probably like he's the system AI or overlord or whatever.
I mean, other than getting maybe Morgan Freeman, that was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Kevin works in IT. And before we started recording this episode, he had not seen the trailer yet. And so he sat there. We're all watching him watch it. And the first thing out of his mouth, a server room.
And then it just went downhill from there. It was like he got sucked into this matrix. And I was like, am I watching the movie Hackers or something? Where it's got the Gibson, like hack the Gibson. And then you get this crazy scene where they're like flowing down through stuff. And I'm like, they're totally channeling Hackers.
I do like that. That was one thing I did like in the trailer. Like he goes by, he's floating through cyberspace or whatever the verse. He's basically what it is they're injecting LeBron James into HBO Max rather than already. But I mean, he goes past a world that's Game of Thrones, then he goes past a world that's the Wizard of Oz. But I do like when he's sent to the Toon World, he kind of goes through the circle and it's doing the as he goes through. That was kind of neat.
The WB logo.
Yeah.
See, that's like with me, like when you talk about you like the Looney Tunes, like to me, like I've always said I like the Disney stuff, but some reason why I've always identified more with the Warner Brothers characters. I don't know why. I always love the Looney. I absolutely love these. I like Mickey. I like all them. Those are good characters. But something about Daffy, Elmer Fudd, all them guys, something about them I guess their humor is my humor. Thankfully, Mel Blanc and all those guys back then. Yeah. Something I can laugh forever.
And I grew up with both. Back in the 80s, the Disney Channel was not these fluffy teenage shows.
Yes.
They aired the old classic Mickey and Donald cartoons all the time. They had live action, Dumbo Circus, things of that nature. So, I grew up with them just as much as I did the Looney Tunes.
Right. Yeah, I have mad love for the old Looney Tunes cartoons.
I just love watching these old cartoons and going back visiting them as an adult. Just funny little thing, like especially Foghorn Leghorn and the little chicken. that and Sylvester Jr. is probably the most I identify with my relationship with my son.
Well, and
for shame, Father, for shame.
With a lot of the WB cartoons and Looney Tunes cartoons, a lot of us know classical music scores because of Warner Brothers, because of Looney Tunes. It's like our love of traditional classical music, because they use that a lot in the cartoons, that came from Looney Tunes.
I mean, Barber of Seville, I forever knew as the Rabbit of Seville up until I was in my late teens. So, I mean,
Are you guys excited for Space Jam 2?
I am. I think it'll be fun, but that's just me. Like I said, I can turn my brain off and enjoy a movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's just going to be a movie for fun.
Yeah.
For us, it'll be fun, but I think also it'll be for all the how do you do fellow kids born after 2010.
It's that movie that identifies and it pulls at our childhood, so it gets us to watch it. I mean, I was going to say this is just going to be dumb fun.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas like the original Space Jam, it's like they were trying to do something with it, but they never quite got there. This one, they're just not even going to try. They're just like, we're going to toss in every property we have. You may never hear from them. We don't care. We're just going to show you WB is still alive, and it's not just Disney.
Well, Jess and I have seen the Black Widow trailer. Bo and Kev have not, so we'll table that one for another time. But that's going to be hitting in July now instead of May. Along comic characters, cartoon characters, we all, as we mentioned, love conventions. And Alabama Comic Con is going to be hitting our state once again, thank goodness, in October. So second weekend in October? October 9th? I think
it's the 9th and 10th.
9th and 10th.
11th, something like that, yeah.
Well, all 4 people on this podcast here had major tears of joy when they announced Judith Hogue, April from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
We've been doing trailer
talk. In the trailer too.
Yeah. We've been doing too much trailer talk. That's what it is.
Trailer parks in Alabama.
There are some lovely people that live in trailers now.
There's nothing wrong with them, except in tornadoes.
Yeah.
So
there's still nothing wrong with them. Just to be clear,
yeah,
it's just that's wrong with where they live.
No.
My!
I'm totally not.
No. What has happened is, don't worry. It's the last few years, tornadoes are hating us all. It doesn't matter where you are.
I mean, tornadoes even came after our beloved weatherman.
Exactly.
So no one is safe.
Yeah, we're just talking about James Spann. You know, he always tells you if you're in a manufactured or home, get out, go to your safe place, and that's what I'm concerned about.
Respect the
polygon.
My wife wore that shirt to Cracker Barrel yesterday.
I sure did.
Picture of James Spann right on the front. # respect the polygon.
How much Alabama can you get there wearing a James Spann shirt at Cracker Barrel?
And we sat in rocking chairs.
Oh.
So that just makes us old. That doesn't make us. Yeah. So anyway, I sat in rocking chairs as a kid. Love it.
But back to
back to Alabama Comic-Con. So yeah, Judith Hogue is going to be here. NECA is working with her to release her figure, her action figure, and I am hoping that production picks up by then, because they announced her towards the end of last year, and they need to get her out before she gets here to Birmingham, because she's got to sign the figure.
Yes. Let's say that's probably the biggest thing is now I got to figure out what I want her to sign. I still have my original VHS copy of the Turtles movie. That's one thing I'm debating on. I'm not sure.
That's interesting. A nice little piece to get signed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like it's really cool to see her like really embrace the April thing. I mean, I know, that was kind of like early into her career, and I'm sure, at the time, I'm like a lot of the folks, they didn't think nothing about it. Now you got these conventions where people can go and gush about, hey, your character you portrayed made me so happy. And I think that kind of becomes a drug for them in a good way. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's one reason why. I mean, it's nice to get paid for, for people to get signed stuff. But overall, I'm sure that's one thing that's kind of got a lot of these actors that used to not embellish that stuff now that are embracing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And April's just always been probably my favorite character in the Turtles world, because I mean, she's a news reporter. Me, I'm a former news reporter. Plus, and Jess will forgive me for this, she's a redhead. So
and the thing with her, like like I said, much respect to Paige Turco, who played her in Turtles 2 and 3. But Judith April is so good in the original.
Well, her just the character and just how she played the character, just how spunky she was.
Yeah,
she just we didn't see that in the next movies. It was a little more hammy, and it really wasn't nearly as good. But that may have also been the direction. That may have not quite been the actress. But Judith Hogue, she knocked it out of the park. I mean, I think I can say it was pretty much an early crush for both Bo and I, for sure. Like big time, for sure.
Same.
And like the cool thing about it, like she at the times they had her as the damsel in distress, but overall, she held her own in that movie. Like
Hang on a minute. How about you, Jessica? Was it an early crush for you too?
No, just a good role model for me. Just a good, positive role model for me.
There you go.
I didn't want to leave you out, okay?
She was too busy with Shawn Michaels back then anyway.
There we go. Hey, mad respect there. Mad respect.
So we're looking forward to that. We're excited about that announcement. I look forward to what else they come up with.
Is that their first big guest announcement that we've been noticing or that we're excited for? Or is that their first big one in general?
It's the first one I'm excited for.
That's the first one I think I've seen come out of them. I think she was the first guest announcement.
I think also they're on top of it being Alabama Comic-Con, they do some kind of My Hero Academia. I know from our anime fans are going to kill me for probably screwing the name up, but they were supposed to be doing a convention of one of each. And I think they're combining them. So it's combining it. So it'll be a neat, interesting, a lot of hodgepodge of folks for different things. So, we'll have to see how that turns out for everybody.
Yeah. They don't even have, as of the time of this recording, they don't have Judith Hogue on their website yet.
Yeah. They posted it on their social media. But
it's on their Facebook.
Thursday or Friday that they posted it. It was just a bit.
It might have been. It
was a handful of days
Wednesday
ago.
or Thursday. Wednesday or Thursday. Like I said, as we're doing this is on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, currently all they have listed on their website is Jared Green.
Jared Green. I'm not sure who that is.
Apparently they don't either because they don't have any information.
So any of you Jared Green fans out there, feel free to send Ed Bama Geeks on Twitter any information you can spare.
Please let us know who this guy is, okay?
Or send us hate tweets for not knowing who he is.
You can send those directly to me if you need to. That's fine.
Oh, but looking forward to cons coming back around as we talked about last time. But
I can segue into something here.
Well, go ahead.
Speaking of con announcements and redheads that Brock has had a crush on growing up, we got the guest announcement that Eileen Quinn, who played Annie, is going to be at Fanboy Expo in Knoxville.
In October.
The Annie from the 80s Annie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So she was my first crush.
Oh, nice.
As a kid, ever in my life. She was my first crush. She is the reason I like redheads.
You wanted to know where it started, folks?
A little orphan Annie,
It's
Eileen
Annie.
Quinn. She got announced for Fanboy a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
And
That's incredible.
I said, that's it. We are going back to Fanboy this year. I got to meet her.
When is that?
Sometime in October.
It's October's the weekend of Halloween.
Oh, that's right. That's
It's
right.
Halloween
Okay.
weekend.
Yeah. So, October's going to be busy con-wise, and I'm loving every bit of it because
Dude,
two redheads.
October is always busy.
Yeah.
But two redheads at two cons, two of my crushes. We're gone.
Brock is like in just high cotton over here.
As we say in Alabama.
This isn't Alabama.
Not
This
forgotten.
isn't.
And Jessica says, I'll be there. I'll be there too.
I'll be there too.
So you guys know.
Look,
She's
okay.
awesome.
So, of course, Annie. I mean, I was a 6-year-old girl at the time that this movie comes out. This is huge for me. This was a big. I cannot tell you. And my parents, my mom was still here with us, and of course, my dad. I think I wore them out on that movie. I had the album. I had the movie recorded. Lived that little life, and. There's also a picture of me in first grade where I am actually sporting the little orphan Annie look with the short, curly hair. And
it works for me.
See, so my curly hair.
All right, guys, keep it PG. Okay?
We're going to go from Bama Geeks to Love Line territory.
Next caller.
Hey.
But anyway, this is a big moment. This is going to be a big moment for me too on both ends. I mean, meeting both of these women.
And we've got the vinyl soundtrack still.
Oh, good.
So
call.
yeah, that's what we're going to get her to autograph.
So I'm going to have fun with these meetups at these cons as well too. Not just for Brock's benefit. This is mine too.
Yep. So, entertainment-wise, what are you guys doing? What kind of games are we playing right now? What kind of video games are we all into?
Recently, a sequel to a video game that I have spent probably thousands of hours on since it first came out in 2004. A little game called Evil Genius came out. Evil Genius 2 just released just this past week. And I have been playing an unhealthy amount of that game. It is absolutely phenomenal. And it is a very worthy successor to the name, to the quirkiness, to the whole Austin Powers, James Bond feel, to the base builder platform. And this is a PC game. I think they're going to be releasing it on some other platforms, but I know that it's primarily a PC game. That's kind of got my life right now.
How long has it been between the sequels?
Well, the original game came out in 2004.
Oh, wow. So it's been a minute. So yeah.
It has been a minute. Yeah. And they've been working on this thing. They worked on this game for about 3 years, I think. And it's still got some, like, just like any video game, it's got some weird spots where I kind of have already provided feedback and hope they'll fix. But overall, the game is phenomenal. It is just, the pacing is beautiful. I really enjoyed it. If you guys are into like base builders and, just low-level management games where you get to still kind of spice it up with stealing money and being a villain and just being the bad guy, you would really, really like this game a lot. It is a very good game.
I've been working my way through the Resident Evil series again. Since the new one's coming out here in a couple of months, and the big, tall vampire lady girlfriend that all us Resident Evil fans are all thirsty about, I've been played through 2 and the remake, reboot, whatever, remasters of 2 and 3. Finished them up. I'm currently on Resident Evil 5. hopefully I'll finish it here with the next couple of weeks and I'll revisit Resident Evil 6. But I've also been playing Mega Man X, almost a 30-year-old game, because I don't know if this is all right if I do a shameless plug here, but there's a good guy on Twitter. His name is Retro Game Brews. He does like video game tournaments / things just where folks will kind of bragging rights type things. I have a tournament going on, and the current game is Mega Man X. And gosh, I want to say there's like 16 to 18 people competing in it, but I'll be doing a stream for it. It's basically who can beat the game the fastest. I know I will not win it because we have a gentleman in here who's like a ridiculous speedrunner player. He can beat the game in about almost 40 minutes. He does like sub 40 minutes, where me, if like on a good day, I might beat this game in an hour 25, an hour and a half. So we have a 2-hour window to beat the game or get as far as we can, and that's how they do the placements. But I will be playing it on Monday, April 12th. It's 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central Time. Shameless plug for my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/MB the Great One. So, hey, shameless plug, come watch me. But that's what I've been playing.
Awesome.
Well, I'm a faithful member of the Tom Nook cult. I am.
Man, what's his bills?
I am an Animal Crossing New Horizons player, and that's kind of where I'm at. That's my gaming in a nutshell.
I would say my wife, she also plays it, but are you currently enjoying all the Easter festivities as of right now?
Yes, I did participate in some Bunny Day activities today. I had, last year for my birthday, I requested the game because it was just I saw a lot of my friends playing it, and I said, if I had to kind of get involved in a game, I think I would take to that one really well. So I asked for it for my birthday, and my sweet hubby got it for me for my birthday, and it kind of became an obsession there for a while. I was waking up and playing it. I was coming home for lunch and playing it. I was coming home in the evening from work and playing it because, I'm building my island. I'm trying to make money, and I'm selling fruit. I'm about to go into surgery, and on the way to the hospital, I make a comment to Brock. I'm playing the Switch on the way to the hospital. It's like
she's sitting in the passenger seat. She's about to go into surgery, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" She's going, "I'm fine. I got to sell my bills."
No. I had to sell some fruit.
Oh, sell the fruit.
You sell the fruit to earn the bills.
Brock, get it right.
Look, I am not in that universe at all. I'm sorry.
I watch my wife play it. She loves the game, and to me, it's one of those games like I can watch her play it, and I have a character on it, but I wasn't playing enough, so therefore she played my character because I was bringing down the value of their island. I was being a slacker on the island, so therefore she had to play my character. So I understand, the passion is real there. So, but I mean, it's an adorable game. It's an adorable game. It's fun to watch, but I just can't sit down and play it. To me, it's like chore simulator.
It's relaxing to me, and then that's what I need. That's what I need. I just need something that's just relaxing. And I was pretty, a regular, frequent player there for months, and then probably because I'd always heard the horror stories. If you abandon your island, if you abandon your villagers, if you don't do that, they'll get so upset with you. But probably around November, I guess things just got crazy with work, and I just got tied up in other things, and I abandoned my island because I know I wasn't playing it around Christmas time when all the Christmas stuff was going on. But so I would say around November, I abandoned my island for probably about 2 or 3 months, and then I had that overwhelming anxiety of, oh my gosh, my villagers are going to hate me so much. I don't know if I want to sign back on and deal with that. But I did, and now I've been back playing it. I wouldn't say I'm playing it every single day, but about every other day, if not. But I've reached that point where I've kind of made a lot of money on the island, and I just always feel like I go and see other people's islands and things that people are creating online, and my island doesn't look anything like that. How do I sculpt this beautiful crafted island like I see all these people putting together? And what am I going to do? I got bored with it. Honestly got bored with it. Yeah. But now I have moved all of my villagers' houses to another side of the island. I have purchased all the Mario items, so I think I'm going to take that part of my island and make a little Mario section to it in my new design. So I've kind of revamped it, reignited my interest a little bit in moving things around and changing my island. So that's it for me. I'm an Animal Crossing person.
And I've always been, I guess, one of the faithful Fallout 76 players up until about the past month, month and a half ago. Then I've jumped over to Red Dead Redemption 2, and have been doing that for the most part, probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Have you completed the main story?
No, I'm actually I'm about halfway through with it. I'm taking my time. I'm enjoying going out and hunting. You know,
have you run into Bigfoot yet? Because they say he's in the game.
I didn't even know Bigfoot was in there.
Oh, sorry, but I mean, yes, apparently Bigfoot.
You spoil Bigfoot for me, we'll spoil Falcon and Winter Soldier for you.
That's all right.
You jerk.
But no, I hadn't run into Bigfoot yet. But I think I'm at 50%. But I keep going off and doing side quests and just random hunting to find skins and pelts for the trapper, so he can make me some nice hats.
Yeah, one of my favorite analogies for Red Dead 2 is they call it Yeehaw Skyrim. That's always been my favorite.
I can see it, but I tell you, it has to be one of the most beautiful games I have ever laid eyes on. It is breathtakingly beautiful and wide open.
And he let his horse get hit by a train.
Look, I had that horse. The entire run, and I loved that horse. I named him Haas. Because why not? Well, I decided to rob a train, and then I decided to drive that train. Haas, being an intelligent horse, decided to follow the train.
Oh, no.
And then Brock decided to take that train over a bridge. Haas, like, I'll follow you, Dad. I'll follow you.
Oh,
Haas yeeted himself off the cliff.
Yeet-haw.
And SpaceX was born.
Haas went bye-bye, and so I got a second horse. And I was fishing off a bridge down in the New Orleans type area, Saint Denis. I'm fishing off a bridge trying to catch a legendary fish. And my horse wandered onto the bridge. And here comes yet another train. That horse was yeeted by the train into the bay. And that horse drowned. So now I'm on my next horse, and I hitch him everywhere I go to a tree.
Stay.
I don't want my horse getting yeeted by a train.
Listen, Haas 3, you got to stay still.
I think I am on Haas the Third. I think I did name him Haas.
Haas the Third.
Because I'm so unoriginal.
He loves the name so much he can't part with it.
Well, I've been to the Ponderosa Ranch where they filmed Bonanza, and they got Haas out on the show. So it just stuck.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
We had a good laugh about it, though.
I cried. Cried laughing, but still.
I didn't really get. I said you're currently borrowing my copy of the game. I'll have to read back and revisit it, but I only played a little bit early into it. But you was talking about how beautiful it is. Like one of the things that impressed me was early in when you were in the snow and the way the physics of the snow worked with like you walking through the snow. Like it looked like real snow, like it would collapse in as you walk through. It's just it's a beautiful game.
It keeps your tracks. I mean, you could turn around a couple minutes later if it hasn't been snowed over. Your tracks are still there.
It's just a gorgeous game. Like I said, it looks good on the Xbox One X. I can imagine if they did port it to PC. I wonder what it would. I bet it's beautiful on like a PC with some one of those fancy cryptocurrency cards. You know.
You mean the one that you don't have yet?
Yes. I don't know. This is the quest for what I'm going to get first: either Turtles figures or a video card. I got to pick my battles here. More than likely, probably it'll still be a video card.
Poor Bo built a brand new PC, could get everything but the graphics card.
Yep, that's around the time I started building. It was late November or early December. Then cryptocurrency hit its big boom again, and it was just like, alrighty then.
Bo sits in the corner crying over graphics cards and NECA figures.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's. I mean, it sucks, but there are bigger problems, but you never know.
Not in our world.
Yeah.
Oh man. Speaking of the world, we're all getting back out in it, right? Maybe.
Somewhat. Yeah.
Well, I've been one of those fun eventual workers, so I've been kind of essential working in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. So Alabama.
I'm an eventual worker too.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been working from home for the past 14 months now. Almost 14 months. Jess has been out in it every day ever since.
Yes, I say
yes. Took over, and
she makes that face.
Yes.
We'll not talk work. This is fun time.
There you go.
Not
That's
talk
exactly
work.
who I am.
Yeah. But hopefully things are picking up. I know Alabama's reopening. Our mask mandate ends in just a handful of days, and then it'll be up to personal responsibility and private businesses, and all have to wear masks. I'll continue to do so.
If I'm asked to wear it, I'm wearing it.
Because, what happened to the flu season? Everybody wore masks. The flu was non-existent because everybody wore masks. So keep it up. Vaccines are out there. Alabama's also about to open up to 16 and older for the vaccines, and so just urge you all to be safe out there. Be mindful of others. Use common sense, and hopefully we'll all get back out into the world, not just the virtual world anymore.
Yeah. So that's a good thing they're opening it up because, for me, I've been waiting, because I work in manufacturing. They offered me, I think after the initial, with the nurses and the school teachers, I think because we were still out doing it, they offered it to me. But I was still kind of waiting because I was like, you know what? I'm not at high risk. I'm, not I'm not, there was other people that needed it more than I, so that's why I've kind of waited on it. But now since they're going to open it up to, 16 and older, I'm like, all right, that's cool. That's, I think it's about to be time for me to finally get mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I got offered the vaccine from work very early on. I was in a category since I have been working from home. They were like, hey, why don't you go ahead and get this? And I was like, because I am still working from home and still will be for the next couple of months. I declined it because I'm in my house most of the time. I'm not going out. And like you said, there have been a lot of other people who have needed it before me, but they're making it more available. Then, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to just calling up Walgreens and CVS and seeing if I can get a slot so I can get the vaccine and just go ahead and get it over with, because pretty much everyone else that I interact with on a regular basis, they've got it already.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of wanting to do my part and trying to protect myself and trying to protect others.
Yeah, that's me.
Yep. I figure especially when I start heading back to work, which will be over the course of the next few weeks. Once I'm forced to start being around people again, I'll go ahead and bite the bullet right before
people.
People, I've enjoyed being a hermit. So anyhow, I don't have a segue from vaccines to Falcon and Winter Soldier. So, spoiler alerts coming up. Turn your headset off, Bo.
What do you mean? It's been off already.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. We've got 3 episodes under our belt now, and naturally just digging it, really enjoying it. I'll let you guys start hitting on it.
So, because we were on our first episode, we were just digging into the first episode of this, and a little Alabama connection to the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Wyatt Russell, who is our new Captain America.
Carl from Up.
Whether you like it or not, he is our new Captain America. He has an Alabama tie. He was a goalie at the University of Alabama in Huntsville.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he played with them from 2007 to 2009, and he was an athlete. He was a hockey player, and the way I understand it is that unfortunately he sustained an injury that derailed his hockey career.
He is like the perfect blend between Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
Yes, absolutely.
His looks is like he has if you could just do half and half of something, because usually you'll have more of the features from your father, more of the features from your mother. It's like, no. He's literally split down the middle.
Yeah, he is.
He got a good mix in him.
Yeah.
So we need to have
He's a very handsome guy because he's got 2 gorgeous parents.
So we need to have Private Benjamin Pliskin is what we're saying, I mean, come on.
That's great.
You just made me just lose my train of thought with
Sorry.
that.
I'm good at that. That's what I do.
I'm processing that while processing other information. Now I've got overload over here.
Well, that is really cool, though, that the current Captain America has a tie to our lovely state.
Yeah, and I was reading an article about him recently, and he had even admitted that growing up that he didn't know much about the comic books world or things of that nature. He grew up with a sports mentality. Grew up
not a nerd.
Not a nerd. Yes, thank you. He had the
not like us.
He'd even made a quote in this article that I read that to him, Bo Jackson was a superhero. And I was like, hey, another Alabama tie-in there.
Good role model.
Nice.
Mentioning Bo Jackson. So
Good role model.
I wanted to slip one thing in here, Jessica. I know you're probably going to hit on this, but being a huge Star Wars fan, I absolutely love the fact that Erin Kellyman's in this because she was Enfys Nest from the Solo movie.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you guys remember that. And did a fantastic job with that role as well. So actually seeing that she's like one of the main characters in this, not to get too crazy spoilerific here for Bo, but she is she's a bit super powered, and they don't realize it to begin with, and she knocks them out of a truck.
Oh, that's her.
Yeah.
I knew she looked familiar.
Erin Kellyman.
I've only seen Solo once, but I knew there was something very familiar about her.
Yeah, she's has a Star Wars tie-in, so she's worked with the mouse before for sure.
Yeah, and it's funny because he's also, Wyatt Russell has made the comment that he's glad that everybody hates his portrayal of Cap. He's not bothered by it at all. He feels like, if you don't get that reaction, then you're doing something wrong. And he's all about, I'm not going to expect you. It's great that you have these mixed feelings about this character. You don't have to like him. You don't have to love him. Form your own opinion of him. And that's perfectly fine with him. He's not bothered by it.
That's good that he's being a really good sport about it. Cause the whole Not My Cap movement and all the tagging and things like that has actually been really cool. Honestly, I know Brock was very outspoken about, the way he looked at the end of the first episode. And it's like, he was like Carl from Up and he just had the chin. But when we actually got into the second episode and you actually started to hear him talk, I was like, okay, he's kind of winning me over a little bit. He's, he's obviously, he's not Steve Rogers. He's not going to ever be that. And he's not really trying to be. He's pretty outspoken about the whole super serum thing being really unpredictable and things like that. So it's an interesting take. It's like he's trying to be Captain America, but also be his own person.
So well. he is going by the name Captain America in this. Yeah. Like they have him as he's carrying the moniker, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people call him U.S. agent, but I
think that's something
like Captain America.
Right. Star-Spangled Man with a plan.
I think the reason they're doing that in the show is, I think in the original material, he was U.S. agent, and that's kind of what they refer to him as. But in the show, it just makes more sense, I guess, so far as the MCU goes, to kind of rile us up a little bit to be like, how dare you? We feel like we fought alongside Steve Rogers, and then you just give the shield to this guy, and then you get that whole, Not My Cap movement. And I've noticed that's kind of calmed down a little bit now that we've got a couple of episodes in, and he's different, but it's kind of like folks, instead of just like totally going, everyone's kind of like, all right, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah. I can see
it's kind of where we are right now. It's kind of like, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah. And then you have also the toxicity of fandoms that are actually giving this guy death threats. This people, come on, really?
Yeah.
Hey,
come on.
It's not. Hey, at least it's not Star Wars, okay?
It's one thing to be passionate about it, but at some point, people. It's like with anything in life, people take some things way too far, way too serious.
You realize this is not real, right?
Well, and this much like Carrie Fisher. This guy is the son of two very, very, very famous people.
Yes.
He's probably used to being in the public eye.
Yeah.
He's used to hearing this stuff. So a lot of this stuff is probably why he's so chill about it. People being so either the far right of toxic, and then the people who are just like the Not My Cap, and they're just being really blasé about it. He's probably eating this stuff up overall.
Right.
Well, they've also, especially in the third episode, they have kind of put him on the back burner for the time being because of where they're focusing now with certain
Just
person from past Marvel movies.
Just say it.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm good.
Well,
Just
Zemo. Zemo has reappeared and
makes sense.
Plays a heavy part in the third episode.
Yes.
Well, and they underutilized him originally anyway. He was just barely there. And then now he's back and he's like a major player now in the story. And I mean, just the performance so far has been phenomenal, and just the interaction between the three, four of them at one point, but really the three of them, the interaction there is just awesome.
I agree. In my mind, it's the anti-hero aspect of what Marvel tends to do, like especially where Loki's concerned. When Thor went to Loki and Loki's famous comment, "You must be desperate." Mm-hmm. So the same with having to go to Zemo, you realize that for what they need, they don't have any other choice. It's a character that you have a feeling that you were supposed to not like this character, you were supposed to be against this character, but now you're going to feel like you've got to start rooting for this character because of what he's bringing to benefit the need that is in front of them at the moment.
The fact that before they even went to Zemo, the first person that they went to was Isaiah Bradley.
Right.
They actually went to Isaiah Bradley. And the fact that, and for those unaware, I mean, Isaiah Bradley was like the second Captain America. Mm-hmm. He had his own arc. And the fact that in the show, he was basically poked and prodded, and he is very, very bitter about it because once, he was incarcerated, they used his blood, supposedly used his blood to make super serum. Mm-hmm. And that's what they've isolated out what they needed from his blood in order to make super serum. And that's what we're seeing now in the show. So I don't think we're done there. I think we
not
may
at all.
see him again,
No, I don't think that they would have built this up just to be done with it just like that. There's so much more to unravel with that. What we're seeing in these current episodes is you see what Sam is kind of dealing with now, in that I gave up the shield because, I'm not worthy of the title. He knows that it's big shoes to fill. And the symbolism of being Captain America, I mean, it's just a heavy load to carry. But now I think he's realizing that, even though he doesn't feel that worthiness, he's now dealing with the regret of giving it up and watching it being passed on. And maybe the question in his mind is, did I pass it to the wrong hands?
And remind me, we're 3 episodes in, so we have 3 episodes left, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
That's still a lot to unpack in 3 episodes. If they're going to continue on with talking about Isaiah Bradley, we're going to get hopefully a little more familiar and a little more used to potentially having this new Captain America. I'm assuming if this doesn't just wrap up at the end, that he's going to be around after this. I don't know if that's going to be part of the story. I don't know. I am coming out of a complete place of ignorance because I never read the comics on this. And I am super happy being blissfully ignorant about this because I like being surprised about what's going on. And I'm perfectly happy with having the storytellers shape this around what's going to be the future of what phase are we in now with Marvel's 5 or something?
4, I think.
4 or 4.
Yeah. Phase 1 was all the first Avengers movie. Phase 2 was Ultron, and then Phase 3 was Endgame.
Yeah. That's going to be a lot to unpack. It's going to be interesting. And granted, we discussed earlier in an earlier episode that these episodes are longer, but it still seems like, they're covering a lot of stuff, but there's still going to be a lot that they have to unpack to bring this to a satisfactory conclusion, I think, in 3 episodes, especially since, this is a TV show after all. And the last episode is the big one. It's the finale. It's got to have the big hook and then the thing to make you want more. So, we'll definitely see the last episode be one of those things where it's like, by the way, keep your Disney Plus subscription. We've got more coming.
Yep.
Well, I'm really interested if we are seeing actual Easter eggs for the X-Men, because at one point on one of the gates in Madripoor, there's a massive X on the gate. It's a red X and a red circle.
Oh, so oh wow!
Yeah, it looks.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's a far off shot, but there's a big gate and it's got the circle, red circle with the X in it, and it's like, I hope that's a hint.
It does make you wonder, because Madripoor has the tie to the X-Men. If you go back and look at the history of that fictional city, it's got ties to Wolverine. It's got ties to X-Men. So maybe it's just those little.
Guys, 5 years down the road, we're going to be looking back at this and going, either what the heck were they thinking about introducing the X-Men this way? Or else we'll be thinking that was masterfully done. Like, oh my gosh. But we're at this point now to where we're sitting there going, how are they going to do it? How are we going to get Wolverine? How are we going to, is it going to be Wolverine's, we're going to pick up where we left off where, Wolverine's gone. Is it going to be like, we don't know.
I would say my big theory on like with mutants in general, I don't know if they may do the X-Men or whatever, or if they do mutants. This has been my fun theory since I've watched Endgame. Thanks to the events of Infinity War and Endgame, Earth has been the center of 3 snaps. The initial Thanos, 2, they bring everyone back, 3 for when they took care of Thanos. Now I keep thinking my theory is, okay, well, all that kind of cosmic energy, radiation, craziness is going to alter everyone in that area or that planet. Therefore, that may introduce the mutant gene into the world.
So that would explain why mutants are concentrated on Earth.
Yeah, I don't know.
Predominantly on Earth.
That's kind of one of my theories about it. But then again, I was thinking, well, crap, that's interesting. But then again, you're going to have to play with the X-Men time frame for like say if they do it, Magneto and Xavier, where Magneto was, he was a kid during the World War II. Now, if you try to really adjust that now, he would be like Magneto would be like 9,000 years old. So I mean,
I honestly think that they're just going to leave X-Men as it was with 20th Century Fox and then just start anew. We'll have memories of all of the characters, but that would be a way to kind of justify that because we don't even really have to worry about that having happened because we're just going to start anew.
Well, therefore, like you said, they're going to maybe tiptoe with the whole multiverse thing with Wanda and Doctor Strange. Maybe they could be like, hey, this exists, but it exists over here, but it still exists with us. I don't know.
I mean, this whole thing that's going on with them talking about, the group that wants everything to go back after the snap happened because it was better because there weren't as many people here and whatnot. That they're already talking about that feeding into the hatred of mutants as well.
Oh,
that there's a possibility that hatred of just the genocidal hate is going to be more of feeding into mutants. So that may be how we see mutants get introduced is like you mentioned, not only did everybody come back, but people may have come back with more powers. Like they may have come back from the snapping as, mutants and they just don't realize it yet.
Yeah, technically everyone's like 5 years younger than everyone. I mean, I don't know. That's, the snapping. I like that. I never thought about that.
Yeah. And just to go back, the idea that kind of planted that into your mind with Wanda and the interaction with the Mind Stone and how now it's touching on that Mind Stone brought out that mutant gene in her.
Yeah.
So we're going to get the Fantastic Four coming into the MCU as that's, here we go. Fantastic Four again. Let's see how this one turns out.
Yeah. Well, somebody was, I thought I overheard someone speaking during the movie theater was talking about somehow like they were maybe hinting at Dr. Doom or something in Winter Soldier or something they may have hinted at. I don't know. You guys, like I said, you guys watched it more than me. There been hints of like Lavatria or,
Latveria.
I always, I'm terrible with names.
I don't think that we've seen anything like that yet. But then again, they may not be prepared to play their hand yet. Like the whole thing with the X on the gate, that may have just been a coincidence. I doubt it. I think you're onto something, Brock. I think that was legitimately they were trying to show us something.
Well, see, then you think about it. I want to say it dates back to like Civil War and all that Winter Soldier that, they were tempting, like, I cannot think of it. Was it Baron, the right-hand man of Red Skull? I cannot think of his name. Was it Baron Zemo? Or I know Zemo. I'm terrible with names. Excuse me. Anyway, he was in the computer in, I think it was Winter Soldier or Civil War. Anyway, so a lot of people thought he was going to become MODOK.
Yeah.
That was one of the popular theories. So that could be a way, because I know MODOK's tied a lot to the X-Men.
Mm-hmm. And we assume he died because he uploaded his brain into all those mainframe computers, but we don't know that. It's the same as like, we don't know that, what was his name? Ultron. Yeah. We assume that Ultron's gone because we saw Vision destroy the last of him, but was he really gone? Is he not like on a server somewhere? I mean, somebody got him on a floppy disk? Ready to,
a 3.5 waiting to destroy the world.
5.25, man. Come on.
Well,
let's get real here. 5.25.
Real to real.
Well, this might be a tad off the subject, but if Star Wars has taught us anything, no one's ever really gone.
This is very true, and this is the same company.
Oh, yeah.
Mouse is perfectly willing to do that. But I will say, because this is a TV movie medium, they have to be a lot more obvious about things.
Right.
Whereas comics, you'll see one comic come out, and a comic will come out 20 years retconning the other comic, and then you'll have this happen, and then you never know what's going on unless you've read every single one of them, which is what they want you to do in the first place. But with the MCU, they're going to be clever about this, but they have to also be very obvious about it, because if they're introducing an entire new existing franchise into not just an existing one, and a successful franchise into a successful franchise, they have to be really obvious with how they're doing it. How they get to it won't be obvious, obviously, because we don't know how they're going to get to it. But when it happens, it's going to be clear as day, I think.
Right.
As to what's going on. They're going to just hit us with it, and it's going to be like, oh, that was just amazing.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Speaking of mind blowing, Bo had mentioned that he was talking to somebody in a movie theater.
Oh, man.
Bo, what were you watching?
That would be Lizard versus Monkey, a.k.a. Godzilla versus Kong, a movie that turned me into an 8-year-old kid who used to watch all the kaiju sci-fi movies on Sci-Fi Channel.
Sir, I want to be clear. He's not a monkey. He is a great ape.
Yes, I know. but for the internet speech, he's a monkey. So, yeah.
Okay.
We watched the first 2 Godzilla movies, in this current iteration of these classics. And neither one of us, we realized, have watched Kong Skull Island.
Oh.
But we've seen the first 2 Godzilla, and then we watched Godzilla versus Kong over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Yeah, Skull Island's fun. You can tell definitely, that's the one thing, it is Godzilla versus Kong, but it is also Warner Brothers who owns the Kong franchise for now. It's definitely should be more Kong versus Godzilla when it needs to be.
Yeah. And coming off of this last Godzilla movie, where it's like Godzilla fought everything.
Yeah.
He fought every monster. And then you get to this movie where, he does his initial battle with Kong, and, as you would expect, Kong's holding his own pretty darn well, but Godzilla is the true alpha.
Yeah.
In the end there. But what did you guys, not to fast forward too much into this, but the most impressive part of the movie, I felt, the story was serviceable, but the most impressive part of the movie was that surprise antagonist that popped in at the very end.
Well, that's very funny because you were talking about earlier with Elon. At times I was like, Apex, could be Tesla. You never know.
And then the movie starts out and it's like just random attack on Pensacola. It's like, who would even attack Pensacola?
Well, as I was telling Brock, apparently Godzilla must have been a attendee at that Pensacola Paracon where the AC was not working, and it was like
it was August, 100 degrees inside the building.
Yeah,
that was
But no, that was like of odd places. I was like, of all places to see Godzilla attack the U.S., Pensacola.
Yeah, that's close to my home.
Yeah, and then they show the little red orb.
Yeah.
After he's attacked, and I'm like, that's an eyeball.
Yeah.
That's like an eyeball. What the heck is this, man?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm getting Mecha Godzilla vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, see the movie threw me a complete curveball because I was like, honestly, for me, the reason why I thought Godzilla was being bad was because it was a Mecha Godzilla in a Godzilla
exactly.
a cover.
I was like, going to be at the beginning.
That was like this is why he's doing it. Like they're framing Godzilla.
Yeah.
Not the fact that, he was, being the alpha man, the alpha monster,
Who framed Godzilla?
Yeah, well, I think what they did in the beginning was they were, and granted, they don't really ever say this, but they were testing the equipment. Yeah. They legitimately wanted him to attack.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted him to attack Pensacola so that it would put up public outcry, so that everyone would support them and would support their mission to create a true alpha that could beat him down,
Speaking of which, like I said, his attack on Pensacola, that was one of the times where I have to remember, I can't always, if I'm going to suspend disbelief, it's got to be for everything. Like when they sneak onto the destroyed property of Apex, you've got Millie Bobby Brown, her character, and I can't think of her friend and the podcaster guy. They sneak on there and I'm like, oh man, this place would be covered with security. But then again, I remember, hey, I'm watching a giant lizard fight a giant ape, so it's pick me, choose my battles.
Oh, and tying Apex into Tesla.
Yeah.
I mean, Elon's building big, massive tunnels underneath cities. Apex has a super tunnel from like Pensacola to Hong Kong.
Well, that's also like with just the name of it was like Apex. I was like, oh, these are the bad guys. Oh, these are bad guys.
So, Brock, what you're trying to tell me is he's tunneling to the center of the earth to find that hidden power source so that we don't have to depend on solar? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm saying he's trying to find the power source. You never have to stop at another supercharger.
Speaking of which, of Hollywood, I know it's not Bill Skarsgård. What is it? Is his brother?
Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Or as I kept calling him, Discount Owen Wilson. I don't know. That might have been just the vibe I was getting from him. I mean, the guy was good as his job.
Wow.
Bo, you never watched True Blood, apparently.
No, the wife has. I have not. That's what the wife goes. He's from True Blood. I was like, that makes sense. Why I have no idea who this guy is.
Wow,
he's a great actor.
No, I mean he was good at the job, but like I said, I just kept getting Owen Wilson vibes from him. But I mean, but overall,
you call him Discount Owen Wilson.
Godzilla. Wow.
Wow. Monkey. Wow.
But no, it's like that was like it was really cool. Like you've got Kong versus Zilla, then you got Journey to the Center of the Earth in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it was like I said, overall. Like I said, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm not going to lie. When the whole weight of finally Godzilla and King Kong finally got going. I mean, if you told me in a million years I would see a movie where Godzilla and King Kong fight on the main part of a battleship, no way. I would have told you I would never thought I'd see that, man.
Yeah, and Godzilla and King Kong teaming up to take down Mechagodzilla.
Yeah,
and Mechagodzilla was, I mean, that was their way of saying, oh, Pacific Rim, that's so cute. Now look what we can do.
That was the cool thing, because like I want to say what Mechagodzilla, like in the original movies, like I said, I'm no old movie expert. I just watched them when I was younger, remember enjoying them. But I was he was part of an alien project or something in the. Don't get me wrong, like you guys, I'm not sure, but I like how they worked it into their universe, where basically they had one of the skulls from Ghidorah as like a network at their place, and then they had the other skull in the Mechagodzilla. And essentially it went rogue on its own and was like,
that's what happens when you synthesize a power source you don't know anything about. And the guy who is drunk off his rear is like, upload it. Let's get it going.
Hey, y'all, watch this.
Plug her in.
He was discount Ricardo Montalban for me. So I had a couple of discount characters in there. But he was good. He was the sleazy billionaire, bad guy. I have good intentions because people in our technology is better than giant monsters.
Did you see what happened in Pensacola? Do you want that to happen to you?
Exactly.
Now take a drink and let's plug this new power source in and let's get it going.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I back in the day, I could only get a 8 megabyte download in Alabama, but yet they uploaded a completely foreign element through the Earth's many layers of crust.
That's right.
Remember? Oh, and watching Godzilla get absolutely mad when he realized that Kong was in the center of the Earth. So he just looks down, and then just blows a hole through the middle of the world. Yeah, and then of course I'm thinking at the end of the movie, I'm like, okay, so Hong Kong is absolutely wrecked now, which that's typical. Now Hong Kong has to deal with. They've got a potential mass transit system halfway through the Earth now. What are they going to do with that?
Well, luckily they're not the Alabama Department of Transportation, because they'd never fill it anyway. So,
But they'll just put some. They just put some cones up around it, and they said, "Let's just ignore it."
Yeah. Look, hole in the center of the Earth. Man, we got I-20. Come on.
Yeah. But overall, like I said, the movie in general, like there's so many good check marks. Like I said, they had that, and I'm not gonna lie, I've got to buy it. Hopefully, they put it on vinyl, but if not, I'll buy the CD. The soundtrack, all the amazing synth wave, and all the '80s feel. Like that was the cool thing about. Like I said, this was a modern movie, but like you could tell they borrowed a lot of the current element of Stranger Things, and the big favorite thing was synthwave. Like all the neon of Hong Kong with the synthwave battle music was just like had me just like inject this into my veins because I could not get enough of it.
And I'm sitting there looking for the building where Batman, was in the Dark Knight. And I'm like, where was he? Which building was he in?
It might have been that one. I don't know. It's gone now. I'm sorry.
Which one did he skyhook out of?
It got leveled by a big giant lizard now. So
early on.
That brings me into like with superhero worlds and now these monster worlds. Is I wonder what it's like to be an insurance agent in that universe. I mean,
you just don't do anything. I'm not going into work today.
But like I said, overall, like I said, I like both characters. I like Kong and Godzilla. I mean, I'm more partial on Godzilla because I mean, how is it hard not to root for Godzilla? Because Godzilla is one of the iconic creatures of all time. But like, I have a feeling like I know, like I said, Godzilla. I do believe overall Godzilla is better, and of course they've adjusted Kong for him to be a more challenging competitor in this universe.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a second, Bo.
Okay.
So imagine we're writing the script, and we just came off of the Godzilla movie where he fought all the monsters and beat the ever-loving crap out of them. So they're like, come on, guys. There's no freaking way Kong's going to take him down. What do we got to do? All right. Listen up.
Okay.
I got an idea. Let's have him go to the center of the earth where they came from, and he'll come back with a giant axe, and then he'll have a weapon. And it'll make a lot more sense.
Now, essentially, it was his Kong tomahawk. Was that like a scale of a type of like of Godzilla species?
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
why
what I
Godzilla
like about
could breathe the energy on it, or whatever.
But like, I know it was so good. Like I said, when they finally got their last big scrap before the final villain comes out, like even though Godzilla had him pinned down, I think Godzilla realized, hey, even though I just whooped your butt, I respect you. I don't know. Like, I don't know for me,
I don't think that Godzilla meant to kill him.
No.
I don't think he cared, honestly. His whole deal was, you could look in the way they did a really good job of the animation was, the CG was, you could look in his eyes and he was just telling him, submit.
Like admit I beat you. I mean, he's like, I don't want to kill you, but I mean,
And as soon as Kong stopped fighting him, he roared at him and stopped fighting him. Godzilla backed off and said, okay,
we cool.
I'm the alpha.
Yeah.
And of course, Kong nearly died there from that because he fought along too long and he probably crushed his ribs, stomping on him. But
if it comes down to endurance, yes, Godzilla has it all because I mean they used the nuclear bomb in the second movie to recharge him. So I mean, but like I don't know, I could gush over this movie. Like I just like it was
just stupid fun.
Yeah. Like, I went to the theater. This is the first time I've been to the theater since February of 2020. And saw Sonic the Hedgehog, which was a same thing. Stupid fun movie that I enjoyed.
Yep.
So it was nice to have a big bucket of popcorn next to me, my drink. My son was with me. My wife was with me. And we went to the 7:00 showing. So me and him was both just got the whole time they were fighting. Unfortunately for him, around 8:30, the movie ended around a little bit after 9. So about 8:30, he's passed out over here. And I'm still just like the big battle in Hong Kong has me like hyped up to all kinds of stuff. But also, we can't continue with the fight. One thing it was good to see in this movie is you saw Godzilla in the daylight. That has been one of the biggest problems of the two movies, which I mean, I understand that was to kind of hide some of the CG issues. But overall, seeing him fight in the daylight with him, Mechagodzilla, and Kong, I kind of that's one thing. I'm glad they beat him, Mechagodzilla, but I was so hoping it was going to end with Kong on one side of Mechagodzilla, Godzilla on the side, and they just split him down the middle. That was the way I wanted it to end. But I know it ended like that, like Godzilla charged the axe, Kong cut the head off, and Kong held the head up. So that was kind of like, Warner Brothers like being like, hey, our boy's bad. Don't get me wrong. Godzilla just whooped his butt, but our boy's bad too,
And then Godzilla was like, he gets up and he kind of looks at Kong and everybody's like, oh man, he's not going to do this crap again. And then I swear, the first thing I thought was that look he gave him when he started to turn around and walk away. He kind of looked back and he was like, I'm watching you, Wazowski.
Always watching you.
Always watching. And then he just goes off into the water. And it's like, it just kind of, the way they ended it is kind of like, this might not be over. Kong's got to watch what he's doing or else we may be seeing this again.
It mostly comes down to whether if Toho wants Warner Brothers to do more movies, because I think they're done with their initial contract now. I'm sure we're going to get another Kong movie. It'd be ridiculous for Warner Brothers not to do another Kong movie.
Well,
Kong goes back through the hole into the middle of the world.
Stargate. Kong.
Just seeing all the reports.
Kong fills in the pothole.
Yes, Kong.
Kong defeats Al Dot. So, but yeah, just seeing reports of theaters. I mean, we had several friends who went to the theaters this weekend to see it, and they were just saying that people were in there, as safely as could be. People were back in the theaters to see this.
For me, like not every theater, not every show or whatever theater room was open, but the rooms that were open were full. But it was social distance. Like it would be like it was me, my wife, my son, and then there'd be like a 2-seat space, and then there was a couple of folks, and they would do that. But then the row in front of me or behind me, they would be staggered, where the empty seats were beside me. The folks would be in front of them, or behind them, if that made sense. So, like what they were allowed to put in there, it was a full room.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you guys remember, I don't know if you remember, but I mean, I kept my A-list with AMC for a long while after everything started to just implode. And once they were still letting people go in, and they had reopened and they were doing social distancing. And I was like literally one of the first people to be back in the theater when they reopened. Tenet, right? Yeah. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't Tenet. It was something. It was a New Mutants.
Okay.
It was new. I think it was New Mutants. I don't remember 100%, but I was back in there, and they were like, I think you and your date are like the first people that have been back today since we opened. And they were going through all the safety procedures, and everyone in there was really well briefed. And then what Bo was describing about how they've got every other row cordoned off. They're maintaining, they're cleaning. Everybody is being really good about it. Obviously, trust your gut if you don't feel like you want to go back to the theater yet. But I'm saying it's about as safe as it could be there right now. It really is. And if you want to go and enjoy the theater, don't wait. Just go and do it, man.
I know Jess over here is dying to get back to the popcorn buckets.
Well, hey, they're still going to honor my 2020 popcorn bucket.
Also with me, because like I said, I don't do the A-list, but I do the premiere stubs or whatever. And it was my birthday's this month, so hey, I got the free large drink and large popcorn for my birthday. So that was awesome, especially after 3 tickets for IMAX.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
and because of the theaters are the way they are, you didn't have to wait in line for the bathroom for that large either, did you?
No. But it was great. As I said, I plan to sign up for A-list, especially by the time late October, early November rolls around, because I'm going to see Afterlife probably once a week until they take it out.
Black Widow. I mean,
so
I think our A-list, we never stopped it. They stopped it on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I think our A-list is scheduled to start renewing again in June.
The way that's what mine is, because I did the Stubbs premiere or whatever, and it was supposed to run out of like June last year. Well, they just extended it a year, so now it'll end at June of this year. But like I said, probably around then, either I will continue that or I will change over to A-list.
A-list is so worth it. Jess and I, until the pandemic happened, we got our money's worth out of that thing. I mean, 3 movies a week. There were a couple of times we went and saw 3 movies on a Saturday because
it's $20 a month.
Yeah, 20. It was 21 after tax, 21 and change.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the problem that we've run into with the fact that AMC is not doing very well is that, like, I stopped my A-list because the theater that is closest to me, they just went to where they were only open on weekends, and I always like to go in like after work. I would just leave my house and just go and watch a movie. There were some weeks where I would just go like 2 or 3 times a week. For 3 or 4 times a week, and I would just go after work, go and watch. So it immediately, at least from my use case, it became less exciting for me. You know what I mean?
Quick question: does the A-list cover how one thing I've noticed the theaters are doing, which I'm kind of glad they're doing these now, where the events of like older movies they're showing them again?
Yes.
Does that cover your A-list?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Any movie.
So that'd be it.
Yeah, you could see any one particular movie as much as you want, but it can't be more than 3 times a week.
Gotcha.
It covers almost everything. The only thing that it doesn't cover is like live broadcasts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I understand that.
It doesn't cover those, but they explicitly tell you that on the website.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and we would have started going back to movies already, but there just hasn't been anything in the theater that we wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like so Kong was like Godzilla was like one of those movies I was like, man, I got to see that in the theater if I can, and that it delivered. It was well worth it. Like, I'm so glad that was my experience through it. Of course, like you were talking about, you said you had some audio issues with the HBO Max version, correct?
Big time. We fired it up. We've never had an issue with HBO Max, and we fired up Godzilla last night, and the sound effects and the music, they were very loud. And then the dialogue was very faint, very soft. And I'm like, is my sound bar going out? Something going wrong? And so I jumped online to see if anybody else was having issues with that. And I found a lot of people on Reddit that were commenting how theirs were doing the same thing. And it's like, the movie is optimized for DTS, and our sound bar is not DTS, but the workaround that somebody had mentioned and that we found worked for us was turning the sound bar on to night mode, and that balanced out the sound effects and the dialogue. But we had to turn it for the first 15 minutes of the movie, turn it way up to hear the dialogue, and of course it got loud, had to turn it down.
Yeah.
So,
and you shouldn't have to do that. You know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know. Hopefully HBO Max is going to fix that, but I lost the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie because I'm sitting there fiddling with the sound bar.
I'll have to let you know how my experience is, because I plan to probably revisit the movie later in the week. So
I would love the opportunity to try to go and see it in the theater.
Yeah.
And
y'all guys can definitely do it. It's well worth it. Like I said, so the theater is back, and I'm so glad.
I want that experience again, and seeing your enjoyment, not only just of the movie, but just to be back in the theater again, just to be sitting in a theater and seeing a movie again. And like good. Brock says, this was what we used to do. And when you realize when it's gone, how much you miss that, and you want that experience back again. That was our thing. We love going to the movies, and I hope that we're getting back to that very soon, very, very soon.
I can't wait to. I mean, this is going to be kind of gushy, guys, but I can't wait to be able to go and sit in a theater and have a movie with all of you guys.
Oh,
my next planned trip to the movies is Mortal Kombat. That's
next month, or is it later this month?
When are we going?
Later this month. It's going to be later this month.
It's April 23rd, I think.
We have got to reactivate A-List.
I think that'll be okay to watch at home, but I still, like I said, I want to see that in the movies.
I would absolutely love to go and see it as a group. If we could get some folks together, that would be fun. Yes.
Are they still doing the $100 rent-a-theater? We'll get the whole thing to ourselves. Come on.
Dude, that would be amazing.
Dude, we chip in $25 a piece.
$25 a piece. Yeah, we got this.
Huh?
We just have to find how many people can you have,
to look
have
it
come
up
visit
right now.
No, Kevin is searching.
I'm trying to think, how many people can you have in there with you? I want to say, is it 20?
Hey, just 4 of us. Come on. This is just us.
If you pay the $100, what does it matter? You got the theater.
Have y'all been breathing around each other lately? Yeah? Come on in.
We have been now.
Somebody was asking me about that. Was like, is the theater, they doing something with their filtration system? I was like, I don't know.
AMC, I remember last year put out something about their filtration systems, how they were up in the process of upgrading all the different filters and stuff. I would be perfectly fine going back to a theater. I have no issues.
It was fine. Like I said, you wore your mask until you sat down. If you ate, you wear your mask. If I mean, to me, like I said, it's, no different than the restaurants now. So, I mean, you spend about the same amount of time depending on how you eat, but,
I'm tired of I'm tired of throwing a mask on, but at the same time, I'm so used to it, I don't really care.
Yeah, it's well, like with me, like the mask isn't too bad. Like for me to sit in the movie theater for 2 hours with it was, if I had to wear it the whole time, it would have been bad because, like I said, I do the manufacturing and I wear it in a hot warehouse for 12 hours. So, and then there's my wife. She's a nurse. She wears all the PPE and she wears like the N95 mask for like 12 hours. So, what's being inside an air conditioned room?
Yeah.
For 2.
Right.
You get an answer yet, Kevin?
I'm working. We're gonna find it in a minute.
We have top men working on this. Top men.
Top researchers in the field here.
Yeah.
It's a little more steep than you guys thought it was going to be.
Oh, but yeah, that fight scenes in Godzilla vs. Kong would have been worth seeing at an IMAX. We would need to reactivate and try to hit it.
Overall, like, so this, going back to the movie, like, don't expect Oscar-worthy story or performances. It's like, that was the best thing about that movie. Some people were like, I'm like, you're watching Godzilla fight King Kong. Just enjoy it.
Just have fun. Just
it's
the amount of people I've seen raging about how, like, the story wasn't great. I'm like, you didn't come here for a story.
No.
You came here to watch big kaijus fight each other.
Yeah, I mean.
And if you want a story out of Hollywood at any time over the last few years, you're not really going to find a good one that's original anyway.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, it was fun. Like I said, I highly recommend, especially if you have like younger kids, then I would say, nothing too young because they may get scary because it gets a little loud and stuff like that. But overall, you got a 6-year-old kid and older. I think, and the cool thing about it is, there's story stuff going on, but overall it keeps their attention. They have fun. Like I said, my 6-year-old had a great time until Sleep won. So, in the battle of Godzilla and Kong, Sleep was who won. So.
That's the sequel, Godzilla versus Kong versus Sleep.
Versus Sleep, yeah.
You guys are going to be disappointed. They have not announced any showtimes from what I can see of Mortal Kombat, even though it's on their website. I don't understand why they haven't.
I think, I know it was originally supposed to come out like a weekend I was off.
Yeah.
Now it's coming out a weekend I got to work. And then the next available weekend for us is a event we're discussing. So I don't know if it's weekend wise, but we'll have to see.
Who's got the biggest TV screen out of all of us?
I got a 40.
I got a 55.
47. That's you.
65.
Oh, we're going to Kevin's.
Ooh, yeah.
We're going to pile up.
Pretty good sound system now, too. Yeah, we can do it. You guys know I'll have it. I mean, I'll have it for sure.
All right, we're going to Kevin's for Mortal Kombat. If we can't get it in IMAX, we're going to Kevin's.
Yeah.
And just as an FYI, if we actually got it in the theaters, if we managed to get it, it's $250 for up to 20 people.
Oh
man! They ditched the $99 deal.
No. They have $99, but the new releases are $250.
Oh.
Like if you did Godzilla versus Kong like this weekend, it would be $250.
But
if you waited a couple months, it would be you could have 20 people.
We know 20 people.
Well, there we go.
Easily.
Yeah. We could do our own ticketing. We could have a Bo stand outside as a bouncer and go, "Where's your money?"
We can have a special Bama
one
Geeks.
of them tickets.
We can have a special Bama Geeks listener appreciation. All three of them,
man.
Hey,
but the problem is we don't know who is listening to us at this point, so it might not be a good idea.
Of course, my mom has been wanting me to take her to the movies for years. You never know.
Hey, come on, Mom.
But seriously, you guys are definitely more than welcome to come over, and if we want to watch it together, that would be awesome. Really awesome.
We'll see how get the scheduling stars to align.
I actually am off that week because I'm taking the week of my birthday off. So
nice,
very cool.
Yeah, because we're both April birthdays, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm April 28th.
I'm 20th.
Are we getting back to the Taurus and Leo discussion again?
No, we're not. Of
course, you're older than me, Kev. Are you going to be 41?
I'm going to be 41. Yeah,
I turned 40, so this is going to be interesting.
How's it feel, Bo? Does it feel
actually, after some very sound health advice from my doctor and losing some weight, I feel better. I feel more in my 20s right now. I feel like I'm in my 20s again. Maybe not if I try to pick up, run, go crazy, but as of overall feeling, I feel the best I have in a very long time.
That's good.
Of course, losing 30 pounds and doing a lot better health decisions and better eating wise, and I'm working in some exercise.
I've been finding the weight you've been losing, man. So it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have.
I know I have.
I'm working on it. Like I said, it feels good. Like I said, it's really good. Like with tying into Ghostbusters. Like I had my just one flight suit I was wearing there for a while. Now I've inherited. Now I've got back to 2 I was using and my Alexander. So overall, I now have 4 flight suits going down from 1.
Dang, man, that's awesome.
I'm hoping I can eventually lose enough weight where I can actually wear jeans and stuff under my flight suit. Where now it's just t-shirt and some shorts. Maybe I can actually do like in the movies, just throw it off and go.
Yeah.
So if you have any wellness tips, just hashtag Bama Geeks Health and Wellness.
Yes.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for our second episode of Bama Geeks. We certainly appreciate you joining us and hope you've enjoyed the topics. And we are already planning the third episode, and we'll toss some things around and see what we can come up with. But we've gotten some great feedback from a lot of our friends and a couple of people who we don't know that have reached out to us, and we certainly appreciate the feedback. And if you want to find us online, our social media channels, just at Bama Geeks. That's everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And just look at Bama Geeks on YouTube so you can see, you can listen to the podcast on YouTube as well. Eventually we'll cross over into the video realm where you can see all of our smiling faces. At least the 3 of us with facial hair. Jess thankfully has none. So, but if you want to tag us at Bama Geeks or hashtag Bama Geeks, we use that pretty regularly, and we appreciate you listening and being a part of us. Anybody got any final thoughts?
Stay classy, but most importantly, thanks for stopping by.
Stay classy, Alabama.
And beyond.
We'll see you next episode. Thanks so much.
Bye.